Shippensburg gives you a whole month's worth of reasons for being kind.
And we have a chocolate tour around Cumberland County.
All of that and more right now on SUTV News. Thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Bailey Casada.
And I'm Haley Galaskis.
February has been declared the Be Kind Month in Shippensburg. You can join the campus as well as the local communities in spreading kindness each day of February. There is a calendar in the Cub and on the Instagram page at Ship Wellness. Each day has a different way for you to be kind. This past week, a few were to stand up for someone, do something kind for yourself, and help someone who is struggling. Everyone is invited and encouraged to join the hashtag ShipBeKind movement this month. So get out there and spread some kindness to those around you. Shippensburg University has just earned its second grant to address teacher shortages in Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania Department of Education awarded Shippensburg University with a $100,000 Prep to Practice grant on January 31st. With a shortage of secondary mathematics teachers across Pennsylvania, this grant will support recruiting and retaining of middle school and high school students from underrepresented populations who want to pursue a career in math education. Dr. Jose Ricardo, acting dean of the College of Education and Human Services, says, quote, "The Prep to Practice grant will position Shippensburg University as a leading institution in targeting the teacher shortage and improving teacher diversity with the Commonwealth," end quote. Students that receive this grant will be required to work for 2 years in a high-needs school upon their graduation.
Cumberland County is about to be smelling a whole lot better. A new Bath & Body Works retail store is making its way to Carlisle in the coming months. According to a Facebook post that was made by Bennett Williams Commercial Real Estate, a new Bath & Body Works has leased a 4,700 square feet space at the Carlisle Crossing Shopping Center on 299th Westminster Drive. Bath & Body Works is an American retail store chain that sells soaps, lotions, fragrances, and candles. Bath & Body Works works hard to improve our communities and our planet in a way that will make us proud for years to come, because they believe the world is a better place when everyone has access to the things that make them happy. The new location is projected to open in May 2023. Bath & Body Works currently has multiple other locations across the Mid-State, including, but not limited to, Colonial Park Mall and Capital City Mall, in Harrisburg, Tanger Outlets in Hershey and Lancaster, and the Lebanon Valley Mall.
When we come back, we have coverage of President Biden's State of the Union. Stay tuned.
It's time.
A Chinese surveillance balloon was spotted in Alaska early last week as it made an 8-day trip across the U.S. The balloon was finally shot down by a missile from a fighter jet by the U.S. Coast Guard this Saturday off the coast of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The balloon was an estimated 200 feet tall. The Coast Guard recovered the remains on Sunday to transport the debris to a lab to study the balloon's tendencies. The Chinese government has claimed that the balloon was a rogue object that accidentally made its way over into the United States. However, many U.S. citizens question why the balloon made its way across to the United States and was left untouched before being shot down. Amidst ongoing political turmoil, President Biden spoke during his State of the Union address on Tuesday. Here with their coverage is SUTV's Adam Beam.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
With Republicans now controlling the House, all eyes were on President Joe Biden's first State of the Union under a new House majority. And the weeks leading up to this address has made more Americans curious than ever as to what the 46th president had in store for his final year in office before a possible campaign trail for re-election. On top of a mounting investigation into the recovered classified documents, President Biden also addressed national security after U.S. forces shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon over the Atlantic Ocean on Sunday.
I'm committed to work with China where we can advance American interests and benefit the world, but make no mistake about it. As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did.
President Biden also spoke on the need for police reform and the continuing trend of gun violence in our country. In the audience for the State of the Union was Brandon Say, who helped disarm the Monterey Park shooter in January, and the family of the late Tyree Nichols.
He saved lives. It's time we do the same. Ban assault weapons now. Ban them now. Once and for all.
Many of Biden's claims were met with less than favorable responses from across the aisle. In particular, Biden's statement that Republicans wanted to take away Social Security and Medicare, with many Republicans in the audience booing at the president. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders gave the official GOP response to President Biden with the following.
Dividing line in America is no longer between right or left. The choice is between normal or crazy. It's time for a new generation of Republican leadership.
For SUTV News, I'm Adam Beam.
Shocking news has recently surfaced regarding Philadelphia Eagles offensive lineman Josh Sills. Sills has been indicted on rape and kidnapping charges that stem back to December of 2019. An investigation led by the Guernsey County Sheriff's Office was provoked when a young woman was treated at a southeastern Ohio Regional Medical Center for a sexual assault. The woman claims that the man, recognized as Sills, had given her and her cousin a ride home from a cafe when he forced her back into his truck. The victim has allegedly known Sills since high school, leading her to willingly enter his truck in the first place. She got treated at the hospital once she was able to escape from the assault, which, according to the victim, took around 20 minutes. Josh Sills will be appearing in Guernsey County Common Pleas Court on the 16th of February on behalf of this case. The rookie player has played in just one game this season for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he is not allowed to participate in the big game this Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. Thursday, February 24th, will be the one-year anniversary of war in Ukraine. SUTV's Adam Beam gives us the latest in the ongoing conflict.
Still no end in sight as the war for Ukraine nears a grim milestone. It was on Thursday, February 24th of 2022 when Russia began their invasion of the neighboring country of Ukraine, an invasion that has been threatened since Ukraine's attempt to become more aligned with European allies in 2014. Now, as we near the one-year mark, we continue to see harrowing images from behind the front lines, bombed-out cities, and the citizens caught in the crossfire. From the bombing of the nation's capital city of Kiev to losses in Mariupol and Luhansk, and even threats of nuclear weapons being put into play, the Ukrainian government has remained strong in their stand against Vladimir Putin. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has become a symbol to not only his citizens, but to others facing similar conflicts around the world. He was deemed Time magazine's Person of the Year and has been the crucial part in Ukraine's pushback against Russian forces. Over the past 11 months, the country has seen aid from several UN countries, including here at home. Under President Biden, the country has been given nearly $9 billion in aid from the Department of Defense, along with training of soldiers and providing weapons and equipment to Ukraine's military. Still, though, as February 24th approaches and the death toll nears 8,000 lives lost, one can only wonder when this conflict will end. For SUTV News, I'm Adam Beam.
Coming up in world news, the world responds to the devastating earthquake in Turkey.
We have more after the break.
Dead following a massive earthquake in Turkey and Syria.
SUTV's Paige Shope tells us the latest in this week's world news.
More than 7,000 people are dead after an earthquake hit Syria and Turkey. Rescue teams continue to dig through the rubble to find those still alive. CNN's Nick Patton-Walsh reports.
You can still almost feel the enormity of the tremors here. This is Kahramanmaraş, closest to the epicenter. One older neighborhood shredded, its family warmth huddling on the street. Dolcek's father is trapped under the rubble here. Only his feet protrude. They can't get him out, but can cover his toes. It would be really nice, he says, if the government had come by. Turan retrieved his 8-year-old daughter, wife and daughter-in-law. Pray you never stand over so much of your life. Their final dignity from a carpet. Pushed down, And there are glimmers of hope. These rescuers have spotted a 12-year-old, Mustafa, in the rubble and have to dig down to him. Further along, Ali helped them find his 65-year-old mother. She's in her bed down there, he says. We'll get her out soon. There is not much sign of government here, perhaps as the scale of this is all too massive. Dusk makes the dust and the immense bulk of the mess harder still. The cold, just an insult in the days of emptiness that lie ahead. And the news from the rubble is as often as bad as it is good. A body found here, carried out, and laid next to this man's 9-year-old daughter, Beren. The black hair hiding the intimate agonies buried in it, the stories with the wrong ending. But suddenly, there is a call for quiet. Hush. They think they hear a voice. A pause, and then the best noise. Joy. Rescuers think they might have found 6 people alive, but there are hours more ahead of checking. But nothing really goes to plan here. Even the joy seems random. Where Ali's mother is being rescued, 2 young people are unexpectedly found and pulled out. A 16-year-old girl, apparently still alive.
Extraordinary moment of joy. Kind of thing that really all of Turkey is desperately hoping and waiting for. But as the temperatures drop and time goes by, they've all become harder to come by. But extraordinary to see somebody pulled so healthily straight out of this building.
Abdullah seems unscathed, almost untouched, by the tremors that altered everything else he emerges into.
North Korea marks the 75th anniversary of the founding of the Korean People's Army. To mark the occasion, the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, visited the barracks of military officers on Wednesday with his daughter Kim Joo-ae and wife Ri Sol-ju. That's according to North Korea's state media, which also added that Kim made a speech at the banquet after his visit to the barracks. In it, he praised the country's military without making any remarks or references to the U.S. or South Korea. Kim's daughter could be seen walking next to him and his wife as they entered the venue for the banquet, where they were greeted with applause from military officers. Canada's newest millionaire is one for their history books. Meet 18-year-old Juliette Lamar, who won $48 million in the lottery last month. She's now the country's youngest person to win a jackpot of this size. Lamar also has beginner's luck. This was her first ever lottery purchase. She received the check Friday and told the crowd her grandfather encouraged her to buy the ticket for fun. She learned about her huge win while she was at work. Lamar says while her boss said she could go home, her mother wanted her to stay and finish her shift. As far as her plans for the money, she says she plans to pursue her dream of going to medical school and becoming a doctor. That's it for this week's World News. I'm your new World News anchor, Paige Shope. Now back to Haley and Bailey at the desk.
When we come back in entertainment, we have a recap of this year's Grammy Awards.
We have more after the break. You know, Bailey, today was such a warm day, and I'm just wondering if we're going to see that at all next week.
I know, I didn't even need my heavy coat today. I really hope the warm weather's here this day. Let's send it over to Allison Ritchie with this week's weather.
Happy 4th week of classes, Shippensburg. Let's look at this week's weather forecast. Today, the birds are chirping despite the general cloudiness. We see a moderate high of 61 and a low of 45, with winds picking up later this evening. Heading into tomorrow, it's going to be slightly chillier than today with a high of 50 and a low of 32, with higher gusts of wind possible. Looking at the week ahead, Saturday sticks with the cloudy trends with a high of 43 and a low of 30. Sunday brings a chance of rain and snow showers in the morning with mostly just rain in the afternoon and evening with a high of 41 and a low of 32. Thankfully, this rain seems to end just in time for classes again on Monday with a high near 55 and a low of 36 with just a few clouds. The sun seems to peek out for Valentine's Day on Tuesday, bringing with it a high of 54 and a low of 40, with a chance of showers later in the night. Wednesday seems to show a sneak peek of spring with clearing cloudy skies, with a high of 62 and a low of 44 in the evening. Thursday is overcast with rain showers, with a high of 62 and the rain wavering in and out towards the evening with a low near 45. The rain sticks around into Friday with a shower or two in the morning, shifting to just partly cloudy skies in the afternoon with a high of 49 falling to 25 in the evening. With that, stay dry this weekend, and I'm Allison Ritchie. Let's check in with SUTV's Priscilla Schultz, who has this week's entertainment.
Disney is not letting go of its prized properties Frozen or Toy Story anytime soon. Disney CEO Bob Iger said during the company's earnings call on Wednesday that there are plans in the works for additional sequels to both hit franchises. The first Frozen film hit theaters in 2013 to a massive reception and was followed up with Frozen 2 in 2019. The sequel grossed more than $1.4 billion worldwide at the box office. The first installment of the Toy Story franchise premiered in 1995 and was an instant classic. The newly announced sequel will follow Toy Story 4, which premiered in theaters in 2019. Toy Story 4 continued the franchise's box office success by earning glowing reviews and grossing more than $1 billion. The new HBO Max series, Velma, has become the lowest-rated animated series in history on IMDb. Here with his input on this controversial new series is SUTV's Adam Bean.
If you had told me the biggest piece of political discourse so far this year was an adult spin-off to a beloved Hanna-Barbera cartoon from the 60s, I would have called you crazy. Yet, here we are, as the new Velma series has become the target for hate and review bombing since its second trailer dropped. Now the first season has officially wrapped up, and honestly, I've seen way worse.
On TV shows, the malt shop owner is always a friendly black man or a spicy and meatball Italian.
Don't get me wrong, this show is not good. Far from it. I honestly agree with a lot of the criticisms that people have with the series. But I do think that those saying this is the worst show they've ever seen are exaggerating just a little. The show's biggest weakness, and what made watching its 8 episodes such a pain, is the lead character of Velma. Not only is Mindy Kaling painfully unfunny here, and failing to deliver any kind of charismatic performance, but she is written as the most unlikable, despicable character in the whole show. Rarely does Velma ever get a funny line, and it goes to show how backwards this show is. When the characters we're supposed to like, we end up hating, but the characters we're meant to dislike are the best ones. In particular, Glenn Howerton as Fred steals the show. His line delivery is just on point, and he knows how to sell these lines, even if they're not particularly funny to begin with.
No, nobody leaves. Why does everyone think they can stand me up? Ah!
Okay, riot it is.
The rest of the cast is kind of all over the place in terms of quality. Sam Richardson's Norville is equally dislikable as our lead, but Constance Wu is at least trying as Daphne. If nothing else, I feel what truly keeps me hooked to this new series was the animation. From the character designs to Velma's hallucinations, the art style really works for me, and it made the show slightly easier to digest. Velma is far from being good, but there's certainly worse things you could be watching, and it's not even the worst thing to come from this franchise. For SUTV Entertainment, I'm Adam Beam.
The long-anticipated Hogwarts Legacy is soon to hit shelves. The highly awaited game is set in the famous Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry during the 1800s. Reviews for the game have been positive, and it currently sits on IGN with a rating of 9 out of 10. The IGN's review, quote, "The game captures all the excitement and wonders of the wizarding world with memorable characters, challenges, and nuanced combat," end quote. Hogwarts Legacy will be available on PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The game will be released in stores and online February 10th. Sunday was the biggest night in music. Here with a recap of the biggest winners and surprises is SUTV's Adam Bean.
History was made more than once at the 65th Grammy Awards on Sunday, with returning and first-time winners across all the major categories. The night's big history makers went to actress Viola Davis, who is now one of the 18 talented artists to have an EGOT, as she now joins the ranks alongside artists such as John Legend, Whoopi Goldberg, and Andrew Lloyd Webber. Another win goes to the Queen Bee herself, as Beyoncé's 4 wins make her the artist with the most wins in the award show's history, as she now has 32 under her belt. And singer-songwriter Kim Petras became the first openly trans woman to win an award. She and Sam Smith took home the Grammy for Best Pop Duo and Group Performance. Swifties were left disappointed as the artist left the night without a single win, despite All Too Well Taylor's version being the front-runner for many categories. Some other big surprises include Bonnie Raitt coming out of nowhere to win Song of the Year for Just Like That, despite the category being stacked with songs such as About Damn Time by Lizzo and As It Was by Harry Styles. Styles himself was also on the receiving end of a surprise win, with Harry's House beating out Beyoncé's Renaissance for Album of the Year, with even the pop star seeming shocked by the decision.
Collaborators who are, I'm just so... This doesn't happen to people like me very often, and this is so nice. Thank you very, very much.
Even if you weren't satisfied with some of the night's results, everyone was a winner with some show-stopping performances after show-stopping performances. From Bad Bunny kicking the night off with a medley of his catalog, Stevie Wonder and Smokey Robinson brought some Motown favorites to the stage, and a tribute to 50 years of hip-hop with artists such as Busta Rhymes and Missy Elliott. For SUTV Entertainment, I'm Adam Beam.
That'll do it for this week's entertainment. I'm your new entertainment anchor, Priscilla Schultz. Now, back to Haley and Bailey at the desk.
When we come back in sports, LeBron James has passed a milestone.
And we'll give you all the details of the NFL playoffs, so stick around after this.
The women's basketball team had 2 games so far this week. As you will soon find out, it will be a week to forget for the women's squad. This past Monday, live on SUTV, the Raiders took on their rival, the Westchester Golden Rams. Shippensburg looked really solid throughout this one, leading the way through the first 3 quarters to hold a 56-49 lead heading to the 4th quarter. However, here in the 4th is where the Rams took over. Leah Johnson was a big reason for that scoring, a season-high 32 points in 40 minutes of play. Westchester would outscore the Raiders 31-17 to not only take the lead in the 4th quarter, but to also win this one outright. The Golden Rams defeated the Red Raiders 80-70. In the losing effort, Ariel Jones dropped 36 points, shooting 41% from the field. Now, last night, a chance to avenge their loss as they traveled to Kutztown. Shippensburg went into this one as a huge favorite to defeat the 10-12 Golden Bears. However, that was far from the case. Just scoring a season-low 6 points in the first quarter, Shippensburg would find themselves down early come halftime. Your score, 37-19. Ship could not find the back in the net as well in the second half, as they only made 13 of their 55 shot attempts. For the Bears, a completely different story. Guard Naya Poliam scored a season-high 31 points, with 15 of those coming exclusively from the 3-point line. Ship would suffer their worst loss of the year, falling to Kutztown 74-47. Now, the silver lining here is that even in the losing efforts, Shippensburg was still able to clinch a playoff berth due to losses from other teams in playoff contention. Ship no longer controls their own destiny to the 1 seed, as Westchester has overtaken them in the standings, but still stand firmly in second looking ahead. The Raiders will look to get back on the right track as they take on Mansfield this Saturday. Tip-off is set for 1 p.m. The men's basketball took to the court after the women's team fell to Westchester in the first game of the evening. The men's team started out the game down 4 in the first minute, but managed to get the offense moving after and one was converted by Dom Sleva to tie the game at 7-all. The Raiders would go on 10-point run, while the Golden Rams wouldn't score at all during that 5-minute span, which became somewhat of a common occurrence throughout the night for the Rams. They would only get as close as 2 to the Raiders' lead before the end of the first half, the score being 42-33, Raiders on top. Similar to the first half, the Raiders held a big lead throughout the majority of the second half, while the Rams would struggle to get points. The Raiders would outscore them 42-35 in the second half en route to a Raiders victory 84-68, sweeping the Golden Rams this season. Carlos Carter led the team in points, scoring 23 points and also getting 9 rebounds as well. This past week, baseball returned to the Diamond when they traveled to North Carolina to play Catawba. Things did not start out well in the first game as the Raiders allowed 5 runs in the 7th inning of the first game the weekend and lost to Catawba 10-3. Game number 2 was a slugfest as both teams, but the Raiders fell in the second game 19-10. Game number 3, the Raiders' bats opened up and the Raiders scored 7 runs in the 3rd inning. This was followed by a 4-run 6th inning for the Raiders. The Raiders grabbed their first win of the season, beat Catawba 12-9. The Raiders will head to Salem, West Virginia to play Salem for a 3-game series on Friday and Saturday. On Wednesday night, LeBron James was 36 points away from overtaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record. The Lakers hosted the Thunder on Tuesday night in the Crypto Center in Los Angeles. The first quarter, James had 6 points in the first quarter with 2 layups and a jumper. Second quarter, James had 5 points, making his first half total to 11 and needed 26 points to break the record. All of those 26 points came in the third quarter. James got within a basket of the record with about a minute to go in the third quarter. Then on the next possession, James received the ball with under 20 to go in the third quarter. James makes the jumper, becomes the new NBA scoring leader, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's points record of 38,387. James finished the game with 38 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. Ultimately, the Lakers lost the game to the Thunder, 133-130. That's it for this week's sports. I'm your new sports anchor, Alexander Haig. Now back to Haley and Bailey at the desk.
When we come back, we reveal what on Valentine's Day is costing everyone a pretty penny.
Stay tuned. Love might not cost a thing, but it isn't cheap either. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and Americans plan to spend nearly $26 billion on the holiday. That's according to a survey from the National Retail Federation. On average, most people said they will spend about $192. That's up from $175 last year. The increase is mostly due to people buying gifts for not just their significant others, but pets, friends, and coworkers too. As for the gifts, no surprise, the top Valentine's gift is expected to be candy, followed by greeting cards, flowers, an evening out, and jewelry.
Wow, that's incredible that the prices went up like that. Do you have any plans for Valentine's Day?
I'm just going out with my boyfriend. We're just gonna have a nice evening to ourselves, have dinner. How about yourself?
That'll be so nice. Yeah, me and my friends are getting together and we're gonna make some dinner and desserts and we're gonna watch our favorite movies. So I think it'll be really fun.
So fun.
Well, that's all for SUTV News. I'm Bailey Casada.
And I'm Haley Galaskis. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News and check out our website, sutvnews.org.
We'll see you next week. Good night.